Welcome to This Explainer. Look, if you're a professional, a business owner, or an executive trying to navigate the often murky waters of public affairs, you already know the stakes couldn't possibly be higher. Today, we're breaking down the strategic mechanics of policy influence. We are going to pull back the curtain on how decisions are actually made, and honestly, more importantly, how you can strategically position your organization to shape those decisions. So get ready, because we're about to completely redefine how you look at the political and regulatory landscape.
What if the people who influence your policy outcome aren't the ones sitting in Parliament? Seriously, let that sink in for a second. We spend so much time obsessing over elected officials, but the real power often lies within a much broader, much quieter network of stakeholders. Understanding that hidden network is the absolute key to effective public affairs.
All right, here's our roadmap for This Explainer. First up, the hidden power network. Second, what is stakeholder mapping? Third, the 4 dimensions of stakeholder analysis. Fourth, the 5-step mapping process. Fifth, why stakeholder mapping matters. And finally, building your engagement strategy.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, the hidden power network. For decades, the entire focus of public affairs has been centered squarely on the Parliament building. But the truth is, the real power, the foundational influence that shapes a policy long before a vote is ever cast, actually lies completely outside those walls.
There's a pretty stark contrast between the old and new ways of doing things. The old way of public affairs? It was all about relying on a single meeting with an elected policymaker. You know the drill. You get 15 minutes in a minister's office, shake hands, make your pitch, and cross your fingers, just hoping your perspective made it to the final draft. But modern policymaking doesn't work in a vacuum. It is highly collaborative. The new way requires mapping and engaging the entire complex policy ecosystem. Basically, if you're only talking to the person signing the document, you are showing up to the conversation months too late.
Think about it. When a policy is being formed, decision-makers are consulting government departments, regulators, parliamentary committees, industry associations, NGOs, academic experts, investors, and media organizations. It is a massive, intricate web. An obscure academic expert publishing a peer-reviewed paper or a single NGO mounting a targeted digital campaign could literally be the quiet voice that completely alters the trajectory of your regulatory environment. If you aren't tracking all of these players, your organization has massive blind spots. Any single node in this vast network has the potential to introduce an amendment, spark a media cycle, or just completely shift public sentiment overnight.
So, Section 2. What is stakeholder mapping? If the ecosystem is really that complex, well, we need a formal, structured way to actually make sense of it.
At its core, stakeholder mapping is the structured process of identifying, analyzing, and prioritizing the people, organizations, and institutions that influence a policy issue, legislative proposal, regulatory change, or strategic objective. The absolutely crucial point here is that this isn't just brainstorming a list of names on a whiteboard. It's a rigorous analytical exercise. By doing this, you're literally transforming raw uncertainty and guesswork into actionable strategic intelligence. You move from anxiously wondering, wait, who is against us, to knowing exactly who influences whom and exactly how you can engage them.
Moving to Section 3, 4 dimensions of stakeholder analysis. This is the brilliant, data-driven framework utilized by public affairs experts like Linkonize to assess every single player on the board.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how these 4 dimensions stack together to create a complete 3-dimensional profile of a stakeholder. First up, we look at influence, like how much impact can they actually have on policy outcomes? And this isn't just about their formal legal authority. We have to consider their technical expertise, or perhaps their massive media reach, which gives them disproportionate sway over public opinion. Second is interest. What is their true connection to the issue? Are they an active participant, heavily investing resources into consultations, or are they a passive monitor, just kind of keeping an eye on things? Third is position. Are they supportive, entirely neutral, or deeply concerned about your specific initiative? And fourth, which is perhaps the most critical dimension, is connectivity. Who are they talking to? What are the hidden relationships across networks? We need to uncover the hidden ties between, say, a vocal industry body and a key government regulator, or between an NGO and top-tier media organizations. By scoring stakeholders across these 4 detailed dimensions, you uncover the real mechanics of power.
Section 4. The 5-step mapping process. If your organization wants to map this ecosystem for yourselves, you need a methodology.
This sequential methodology, championed by Linkonize, creates a highly actionable engagement roadmap. Step 1. Define the policy issue.
You have to be incredibly specific here. Are we talking about a broad regulatory reform, a hyper-local zoning issue, or a brand new public sector initiative? Step 2. Identify stakeholders. Cast a wide net across that massive ecosystem we looked at earlier. Do not leave a single stone unturned at this stage. Step 3. Assess influence and relationships. This is where you apply those 4 dimensions we just discussed to score and categorize every entity you found. Step 4. Prioritize engagement. This is vital because your organization's resources are finite. You simply cannot treat everyone equally. Some key players will need daily contact and deep relationship building, while others might just require a monthly newsletter update. And finally, Step 5. Develop engagement strategies. Tailor your communication specifically to their stated priorities and preferred engagement styles. This isn't just some theoretical matrix, guys. This is a step-by-step blueprint for execution that keeps your entire team focused.
Section 5. Why stakeholder mapping matters. At the end of the day, executives want to know the ROI. Why should we invest time and resources into mapping all this out?
Well, the business outcomes here are profound, and they build directly on one another. By mapping the ecosystem, your leadership team gains better decision-making through clear, evidence-based intelligence rather than just going with a gut feeling. Because you understand exactly what different groups care about, you naturally build stronger relationships. Your outreach becomes highly relevant and genuinely collaborative. Crucially, this level of awareness achieves earlier risk identification, spotting an emerging regulatory threat months before it becomes a public crisis that can literally save a company millions of dollars and protect its market position. This proactive stance leads directly to improved public affairs outcomes, where you're actually invited to participate in consultations early, rather than aggressively reacting late in the game. And all of this ultimately culminates in greater organizational credibility. When your company engages with solid evidence and demonstrates a deep understanding of the broader landscape, you build immense trust, ensuring long-term survival and influence.
And this brilliantly illustrates our final segment, Section 6, Building Your Engagement Strategy. Because having a map is great, but a map is completely useless if you don't use it to navigate.
Stakeholder mapping sits right at the center of a truly integrated strategy. Firms like Linkonize use the stakeholder map as the foundational engine that powers everything else an organization does. It informs your government relations so you know exactly which minister to brief and exactly what data they want to see. It sharpens your legislative tracking so you know whose obscure committee amendments to watch out for. It dictates your strategic communications and digital advocacy, ensuring your message reaches the exact right demographic rather than just shouting into the void. And it acts as an early warning radar for reputation management. Every single meeting you take, every single press release you write, is strategically aligned because it's driven by the hard insights generated from the map.
I want to leave you with this core philosophy, which I think perfectly sums up everything we've explored today. Because successful public affairs isn't about reaching everyone. It's about engaging the right people at the right time with the right message.
So, the question you have to ask yourself and your leadership team today is this. Are you truly ready to identify the hidden stakeholders shaping your future, or will you keep hoping that one quick meeting in Parliament is enough? If you're ready to build a powerful, evidence-based engagement strategy, Linkonize is the ultimate partner to guide you through this process. You can learn more by visiting them at www.linkonize.com. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. It is time to stop guessing and start mapping.